Hey everybody, this is KP Jax. Today, this is our second day of gameplay, and we're taking a look at continuing building. Make sure as you build that you expand your rooms and you upgrade. The more that you expand, the more of a resource you can hold. So if you have 3 electrical rooms together, you can produce more and you can also store more. Make sure to pay attention to your dweller skill sets. Higher strength is better for your electrical rooms. Higher perception is better for water, and higher agility is better for your diner. So if you have people with those skills, and you can just click on the dweller and find those skills, if you have them, put them in those rooms specifically, and that will actually increase the productivity, and you'll complete it faster than if you say put somebody with high agility into your water treatment, or somebody with high perception into your electrical room, and somebody with strength into your diner. You're just not going to get the best, the most bang for your buck out of them. So you just want to make sure that you put them in the right rooms. That way you're being, the most productive. During the beginning of this game, if you're impatient like me, it can kind of get aggravating. There's a lot of waiting at the beginning of this game because you don't have that many dwellers. You have next to no production going on, and then something like this happens where somebody shows up and you don't have room to put him anywhere. So your next option is you have to build more living space. But as you can see, I don't have the money. It's 130 caps. I only have 61. So you have to wait for people to level up. And when people level up, that's when you get caps. So it's kind of an interesting way that they did this. Like you see that one character just got to level 2. I got 2 caps. If somebody gets to level 3, I get 3 caps, level 4, 4 caps, and so on and so forth. So when everybody's a high level, level 25, and they're leveling up, you get 100 caps here, 100 caps there, and so on. And you want to make sure that you collect all of your resources, because it doesn't auto-collect. You can do that later. You'll see that in a future episode where you can purchase a Mr. Handy through the store. And what Mr. Handy does is he goes around back and forth wherever you assign him, and if a resource becomes available, like electricity, he'll go and pick it up for you, which is great. You don't have to worry about it. You can actually look away from your device and continue playing. So you can see that I just added a new living quarters, and then I took some people who were doing absolutely nothing and not being productive, and I put them down into the electrical room. And then I got this guy. I think he actually came in the previous lunchbox, and he just has special skill sets, high endurance, high intelligence, stuff like that. He's not going to be the most effective right now, but later I can use him in a radio room or a medical room or a science lab. And then you can see I just took the first 500 caps that I got, and I upgraded my vault door. That's because I know coming up soon I'll probably be attacked by raiders. And raiders, what they do exactly like they sound. They come in and they steal all your stuff. So you need to be able to slow them down at the front door, and then have people inside to shoot them, which you can't shoot them unless you either get lunch boxes or unless you send people out into the wasteland to actually procure outfits and weaponry and things like that so that you can protect your vault. So randomly, from time to time, you are going to run into a point where your vault has accidents. As you can see, there's a fire. The longer it takes you to put out the fire, the better chance of injury to your dwellers. So if they don't put it out in a reasonable amount of time, you'll see their life start to go down, and eventually they will die. They don't disappear, but they do basically just fall down right there in the room, and they lay there until you decide to revive them. And the longer that they lay there, the lower your morale gets. Nobody likes to work around a corpse. Make sure as you're growing your vault, you want to increase living space. This not only obviously allows you to have more dwellers, but you can create more dwellers as well. And the way you create dwellers is, like before, I think I covered it in a past video. You just take a male dweller and a female dweller, and as long as they're not related, within a few minutes, you'll see them do a little dance, and then they will run off into the back room there, and a few minutes later you'll have a baby dweller. 3 hours after that, you'll have a pregnant dweller. 3 hours after that, the pregnant dweller gives birth, and 3 hours after that, that child becomes a adult dweller and can actually do things here in the vault. What they can't do, along with the pregnant women, is if there is, say, a raider attack or a deathclaw attack or something like that, you will see them run away to the nearest living quarters. So what you're seeing here is I got a lunchbox for completing an objective, and I got some caps, some Radaway, pistol, more caps, and then nothing else, which is great because it adds to your bank and it allows you to go through and purchase rooms and things like that. Oh, look, it looks like they've increased my incidents. I can buy Mr. Handy. They fixed my objectives, and apparently some bug fixes that I didn't know about. Hey, alright, so here's what I'm talking about. We just had a baby. You get to name the baby also, so you can name them whatever you want. So, you just click on the name, whether it's a boy or girl, and they'll either take the mother's name or the father's name, like it really matters. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to build a med bay, and that's because that gives me stim packs. If you get attacked, you need a stim pack in order to regenerate your health. And what I'm going to try to do is build it all the way across, and then on the very end I want to start building elevators, because later in the game we're going to run into death claws, and they can mess you up. But you don't want your elevators all over the place, because if they start running through all the rooms, they're going to end up killing everybody on their way down and on the way back through the vault. As you grow, you want to make sure not to build too quickly. I'm focusing on power generation, water generation, and food up front. If you start building other rooms, even if you have the money, you may not have the power to support it. And if you don't have the power, then you have to put more people into a room. And you can only fit like 6 people max in a room to generate power. And if you only have one room, that's only generating one every few minutes. And sometimes you just don't have enough power, so you end up essentially just having blackouts. Oh look, I've almost completed a task of collecting 100 food, and for that I'll get 50 caps. And here's what I was afraid of. I knew I was going to eventually be attacked by raiders. So I made sure to reinforce my vault door. Now they're going to get in. No matter how strong your vault door is, they're going to get in. It's just designed. So they're going to bang on the front door for a few minutes. And then you want to make sure that you take anybody with a weapon, usually your top 3 armed and armored people, and you want to put them in that vault room. And you want to make sure to pay attention, because the vault raiders, they move. They're not just going to stop in that room unless they're killed. So your guys are going to be shooting at them. They're going to be hitting back at your guys. I find it quite comical that, they're all smiling. So you'll see the raiders, they go back and forth him, and your guys just come out, and you're shooting. So they run into another room, and your 2 guys, they just kind of sit there. So you have to make sure to follow them from room to room to continue attacking the raiders. And the raiders, what they're doing, if you look up at the top, you can see right now, yes, they're attacking you and fighting and killing your people, but they're also currently taking your food. You see how it's blinking, so your food is going down. So the longer that they're in your vault, the more food they take away from you, and the more that you have to produce to compensate for what they've taken. Now, it would be great if Bethesda got on board and actually let you keep your spoils of war. So when the raiders came and you kill them, like there, you got to keep whatever they're carrying, weapons and armor, but they don't. So you'll notice once I finished killing other raiders off, everybody goes back to work. So whatever room, whatever job, whatever that person was doing at the time, they go back to work to continue producing. Make sure to pay attention to your power, water, and food needs. Sometimes your power is a little bit low and you may need to rush the room. Sometimes you're successful, sometimes you're not. Just pay attention to that. And the more luck you have, the more luck your character has in their skills, the better chances you have at creating or not creating, at rushing a room.